What's up gamers, welcome back to the channel with me Crispy. Since ARMA Reforger dropped on PlayStation, the player base has blown up significantly, which is amazing to see. But here's the thing, a lot of new players are finding themselves with one major problem. They're getting completely lost. So in this video, I'm going to help you out with some tips and tricks that you can use as a new player to help you find your way and know where you're headed. So with that said, let's jump straight in. So, as we all know, ARMA Reforger is set in the 1980s, a long time before the convenience of GPS devices and all the advanced tech we rely on today. This is reflected in-game, meaning that we don't get the usual luxuries of the map markers or in-game mini-maps like so many other games offer. Instead, we're armed with a trusty compass, a map, and one of these bad boys, a protractor. A tool you probably haven't seen since Year 8 Maths class and swore you'd never use again, until you fired up ARMA of course. Now, whilst there are certainly modded servers out there that give players access to gadgets such as GPS trackers and Garmin watches that tell you where your exact location is, PlayStation players will have to wait until mod support comes to the platform. For the time being, you guys are stuck with the vanilla version, and whilst this may feel like it sucks at first, I honestly believe that learning how to properly navigate the old-fashioned way will shape you into a far better player when modded gadgets finally make their way into your game. You'll have the skills to use them to their full potential. Let's start with the very basics and break down how to use your compass. So you'll see that the black arrow points to the north, with east to the right, west to the left and south at the bottom. The black needle inside the compass shows the direction you're currently facing, and right now you can see that I'm facing towards the west. The numbers on the inner circle represent your azimuth in degrees, ranging from 0 to 360. This allows you to follow a specific bearing or call out enemy positions to your teammates. It also helps determine your location through a process called Triangulation, which we'll touch on a little bit later. As for the numbers on the outside of the compass, these are called milliradians or mils for short, I think. And to be honest with you, I haven't had to use them much. I believe they're typically used for artillery or mortar operators for greater precision and accuracy, as opposed to using them for navigation. One important tip I have for you is to make sure that your compass is assigned to a button that you can easily access, as you'll be frequently using it to navigate and communicate in the game. So I think by default on PlayStation it is down on the D-pad, but I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. The next thing I recommend is opening up your field manual in the options and familiarising yourself with the map legend. Whilst we don't have the luxury of personal markers to show us where we are, understanding key landmarks early on will be invaluable when you're trying to navigate or trying to figure out where you are on the map. The legend will highlight identifiable structures such as churches, lighthouses and water towers, and these can be incredibly useful when trying to orientate yourself. Knowing where these landmarks are located will help you plan your route and to stay on track, especially when you're trying to reach a specific destination or you need to call out a position to your teammates. So take the time to learn the map and its features, and it will definitely pay off in the long run. The last basic skill we need to cover is how to read a map. When we open up the map, you'll notice that it's divided into grids. The lines running vertically are called eastings, and the lines running horizontally are called northings. I know this is a bit confusing, but stick with me and I promise you it will make sense. To read a grid coordinate, we start by reading across the bottom first, the eastings, and then we move up to the northings. To the right hand side of where these points intersect is our grid reference. So for example, this one would be 0202. The problem with the reference that we've just read is that it's only 4 digits, meaning that this provides us with a 1 square kilometre area, which isn't very helpful or accurate if we need to get to a specific location or building. So if we zoom into the map a little bit further, hopefully we'll be able to provide a more accurate location. As you can see, the grids have broken off into smaller sections, and the numbers on the X and Y axis have now become 3 digits. When we combine these numbers, we will now be provided with a 6-digit grid reference, putting us within 100 square metres of a given location. So if we were trying to locate the church within our previous 4-digit reference, it would read as follows: 030015, putting us within 100 metres of the church's location. But what happens when we need to provide an even greater level of accuracy? A 100 metre grid square, although putting us roughly in the right area, can still be quite inaccurate, especially when calling in artillery for example. In order to get a higher level of precision, we can use an 8-digit grid reference, and for this we'll need the dreaded protractor. Start by aligning your protractor so that the bottom and the right hand edges of the triangle align with the previously determined 6-digit grid reference. You'll notice that between the numbers 0 and 1, the grid is divided into smaller lines, each of these representing 10 meters. We know that our previous reference of 030, 015, now that all we need to do is simply count along the bottom and upward lines. This will give us an accurate reference of 0307, 0158, putting us within 10 meters of the church. You can, if you wish, go even further with your accuracy and provide even 10 and 12 digit grid references, but I don't want to bore you too much, and in all honesty, in most cases an 8-digit grid reference is accurate enough. Okay, so let's talk about triangulation, or as it's commonly known, figuring out where the fuck you are. Here I am in a random location on the map with absolutely no idea where I am. If we open up the map, of course we have no map markers to let us know where we are, but there is one little hint that gives us some inkling as to where we may be. If we look at my map here, it says that I'm in Central Ireland near Signal Hill. So if we're able to locate Signal Hill on the map, it should give us a reasonable bearing of where we're located. Once we've found that, it's probably a good idea to try and look for some landmarks. At the moment I'm in the middle of a forest, so it's a good idea to head up and try and find some high ground. I can see that the terrain leads uphill here, so I'll follow that and see what I can find. Now the map indicates that we were near Signal Hill, so given this great big signal looking structure on top of a hill, I'd say we're pretty close, if not smack bang in the middle. But rather than just assuming our position is correct, we need to confirm this by triangulating our position to confirm that we're in the correct location. Now that we've got a much better view of the area, we'll bring out our compass and have a look for some landmarks. To my southwest here I can see a lighthouse. I'll get a bearing on my compass to the lighthouse and take note of its opposite bearing, indicated by the arrow here. We'll need this for later on. Next we'll open up our map and begin looking for a lighthouse on the southwest side of the map. This one here looks like a match to the one we've just seen. Make note of it by placing down a map marker and writing down the opposite bearing that we took note of earlier. Now we need to find a second landmark. To the west here I can see some form of runway which should be easy enough to find on the map. Once again, take note of the opposite bearing and make note of this on the map. You can find a third landmark if you wish, and this will provide even greater accuracy, but for now we'll just use the two. Next up, bring out our old reliable protractor and place the inner circle over one of the points we have just marked, ensuring that the protractor is facing north. Click the pencil icon and now draw from the mark on the map towards the direction of the opposite bearing we made note of. You'll notice that these bearings are on your protractor. Go ahead and repeat these steps for the second landmark. The point in which our pencil lines intersects provides us with an approximate location of where our position is, and believe it or not, it is Signal Hill. Like I said, for greater accuracy, the more landmarks you can identify, the more accurate your location will be. We can now use this information to plot a route to our next destination. Alright, to finish off this video, we will throw everything together that we've learned so far by marking a location on the map with an 8-digit grid reference, before finding our position with the use of the triangulation system, and then planning a route and navigating to its location. We've received instructions that we need to get to the church in Beauregard, where we can find its 6-digit location in grid ref 031027. But we'll need to find its exact 8-digit grid ref in order to pinpoint it precisely. Like previously, we'll bring out the protractor, counting the lines on the bottom and upwards, where it gives us the reading of 03110273. Now we need to find out where we are in relation to this location. Once again, we're in the middle of the forest with not much to go off. We could try and take the high ground again to get a better vantage point, but the forest looks as if it gets thicker in that direction. If we look to our east, we can see the ocean, indicating that we're near a coastline. And given that this is on our east, we know that we're somewhere on the right hand side of the map. So in this instance, we'll make our way down to the water to see if there's any significant landmarks we can identify. As we make our way down, we can see that there are 2 lighthouses within our vicinity. This should give us a good understanding of where we are. Time to whip out the compass and record the opposite bearings on our map. Once these are noted, bring out the protractor along with a pencil and work out your location like we did previously. Finally, we can use the protractor and the pencil to plot a route to our destination, making note of which bearing we need to head towards, as well as making note of how long we'll be travelling for. Each grid reference is 100 meters, and that will give you a good idea of how long you need to travel along each bearing before you change course. Once you're set, you're ready to step foot on a great adventure. Make sure you keep your compass handy, as well as checking your map frequently and looking out for landmarks such as buildings to ensure you stay on track. If you get lost, try to retrace your steps first before triangulating your position again. And before you know it, you'll be arriving at your destination in style, and getting lost will be a thing of the past. So I hope this video has given you a better understanding of how to navigate the open world of ARMA Reforger. Remember, in the heat of battle, even the best players get lost. It's not uncommon to do so. But hopefully these skills I provided you will teach you how to compose yourself, relocate where you have ended up, and navigate back to where you need to be. Thank you so much for watching once again, and if you have found this tutorial helpful, please be sure to leave a comment. I hope to see you on the battlefield, hopefully travelling the right way. But as always, keep it crispy, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.